In the UK, it's against the law to name an accuser in a rape case. In the US and much of Europe, it's also the convention not to name them. The American writer Naomi Wolf, author of the feminist bestseller The Beauty Myth, today angered other feminists when she said that this convention should no longer be applied because it often prevents bringing rapists to justice, and that the woman accusing Julian Assange of rape should be named. The Wikileaks founder, Julian Assange, polarizes opinion around the world. He has been heralded as an icon for freedom of speech for publishing secret US diplomatic cables, a decision which has also earned him many enemies. He has become one of the most famous men in the world following the media storm that surrounded his arrest late last year. 2 women in Sweden have made sexual assault and rape allegations against him, and he's currently on bail in the UK fighting extradition to Sweden.
Very nice to be free for Christmas and to smell the fresh air of Norfolk.
His strict bail conditions include reporting to police daily and wearing an electronic tag. In a provocative article in the Guardian newspaper today, the high-profile feminist writer Naomi Wolf said that the woman accusing Julian Assange of rape should be named. She wrote that the convention of shielding rape accusers is a relic of the Victorian era, and that women are not children. If one makes a serious criminal accusation, one must be treated as a moral adult. But does her stand stem from support for Assange or a belief that the system is unfair to women accusers? Naomi Wolf is in our New York studio, and here with me is the Conservative MP and novelist Louise Bagshaw. First of all, Naomi Wolf, what is the genesis of your objection, particularly at the moment?
Well, right now I'm objecting to the way the BBC has set up my position, and it's an example of why women are so reluctant to come forward. I'm not singling out the 2 women.
I have read the article, though. I have read the article, and simply what you're calling for is you're calling for these women to be named in this case.
Christy, what I'm calling for is a change in our convention and our law and our policy so that women who are making sex crime accusations, or men who are making sex crime accusations, are not shielded in terms of anonymity, because my argument is that it hurts women. It makes it much easier for rapists to be treated with impunity. It goes to the low conviction rates in the United Kingdom as well as in the United States. There are extremely low conviction rates in Sweden. And what I've seen again and again in 23 years of studying this issue, 2 years of working in rape crisis centers in the United Kingdom, and dealing with rape victims and rape advocates all over the world, in places ranging from Sierra Leone to Denmark to the United States, is that rapists rely on impunity, and that when women are told, well, this is a crime different from other crimes, even though feminists have long made the case that rape is a crime like other violent crimes, what happens is that it gives institutions the ability to sweep the issue under the rug.
Well, to be fair,
right now, for instance...
To be fair, I think that's exactly how we did, in a brief, characterize what the case that you were making. Naomi Wolf is right, isn't it, that actually in this day and age, it's right that accusers should be named. It puts them in a better position.
No, not at all. And I think Ms Wolf is being somewhat disingenuous. She bookmarked her article with a specific reference to Mr Assange and his 2 accusers. Yes, she did make the general point, but she was very specific about these 2 women. I find it shocking that a so-called feminist could come out with this claptrap. Obviously, rape is a crime that is different from other crimes because of how it hurts the woman and how it is perceived, how traumatic it is. Women are reluctant to come forward. When we had the debate in the House of Commons earlier this year about whether those accused of rape should receive anonymity, I remember my colleague, Dr Sarah Wollaston, the MP for Totnes, a former GP who worked at rape crisis centres and examined these women, spoke of the trauma that these victims face in coming forwards. And indeed, if we look at what has happened to the 2 women whose identities have been blown on the internet by Mr Assange's followers, we can see why we must never give up anonymity. Their characters have been assassinated.
When I watched earlier this evening, when I watched earlier this evening a programme you had made on American television just before Christmas, you talk specifically about these allegations that Louise Bagshaw's talking about, that actually they were ambiguous and corrupt allegations that Julian Assange was facing. How can you say that? You don't know that.
I was responding to the transcript of the police complaint that I read in The Guardian, and And frankly, I've made this case in many blog posts and articles. In 23 years of working on the issue of rape, and looking at how atypically this case is being prosecuted, that doesn't help women.
If Mr. Assange
in Britain,
were,
just bear with me. Bear with me. One thing that's very frustrating to me as an advocate for women and as someone who thinks that rape is treated horrendously in Britain, Britain is one of the worst offenders, is how the media handles this issue. And
hang on, I think we're actually airing the issue very well just now, yes.
I think if Mr. Assange were a Republican senator, I wonder if Ms. Wolf would have written this article, and I hope
May I just jump in? I'm not a supporter of Julian Assange's. I'm a supporter of due process. And above all, I'm a supporter of rape being treated as the serious crime it is, and that means being treated systemically. And what I have seen again and again in 2 decades of caring about the rights and the justice for rape victims in Britain, as well as in my own home country, is that anonymity creates an atmosphere in which cases are mishandled. There's no data reporting. There's no transparency. There's a bedroom atmosphere.
It's not the anonymity that creates the problem. It's not the anonymity that creates the problem.
But what about the bedroom atmosphere? What about the atmosphere?
Look, rape is a crime of opportunity, and if rapists knew that the whole issue wouldn't be shrouded in anonymity and that it would be treated as a crime, a serious crime like any other, because false rape accusations have the exact same rate as false crime accusations of any kind, ranging from fraud to assault to embezzlement, then they would be much less likely to attempt rape. And I have seen impunity serve rapists and institutions for 2 decades.
It is the case, Louise Bagshaw, isn't it, that rape accusations and allegations are shrouded in mystery. And actually, if women of all sorts came forward and said, we have been the victims of rape, that actually the way that rape is characterised would change, and it may change for the better.
Correct.
I don't believe so. It is so difficult to get women to come forward in the first place. Withdrawing the few protections they have under law is not the way to go about it. After all, anybody who is accused of rape enjoys a presumption of innocence, as anybody does under the law. Those who are bringing forth the crime enjoy no presumption that they are right. They enjoy no presumptions about their character. That's why these protections are necessary, and taking them away is not the reason that rape is not treated seriously. I'm amazed to see her make the connection. She adduces no evidence to show that it is anonymity that means rape is not taken seriously.
Well, one of the pieces of evidence, frankly, Louise, is that in 2 decades in Britain, in which you've had this system in place, and in the United States as well as a convention, the conviction rates are not going up. The conviction rates are pathetic. In Sweden, you've got conviction rates
You
of
can show
1
no
in
causality,
1,000.
None whatsoever.
Very briefly on the Assange case before we finish. Innocent until proven guilty is the case, of course. But this is now a very high-profile case. Would you not think it better that Julian Assange, in order to prove his innocence, went home and faced these allegations?
Absolutely.
No, went to Sweden, sorry, to face these allegations.
Frankly, if we're going to talk about the Assange case, which I'm reluctant to do outside of the larger issue of creating transparency and accountability, okay, I think that it's naive to, leaders in my country are wanting to assassinate him and calling for his assassination, and they're seeking to charge him under the Espionage Act or to send him to Guantanamo, where people have died in custody when I was in Guantanamo last summer. And so it's not surprising that he's resisting extradition, since due process and the rule of law is not obtaining here. And what I'm saying is due process is a feminist goal. The rule of law, fairness for both genders, is a feminist goal. And feminism shouldn't mean special treatment for either gender. It should mean absolute fairness and equity and the rule of law.
Thank you both very much.